Yeah, so we kind of made a little move, and you know, I'm just still exploring on this lake. It's a big lake, but kind of everything kind of has been looking the same, you know, kind of clay looking stuff, and come around this little swing right here, and it turned into that good, you know, this dark gray, blackish color rock, kind of slatish looking, and looked right for the crankbait for me. I mean, I've caught a lot of fish on crankbaits around stuff like this, especially in the summer or the winter time. So it's on a swing, it's on a kind of a rounded point. I mean, it's got a lot of stuff going for it. So now there just needs to be a fish on it, which there should be. We'll see. Well, it was in the fall. Yeah, it was like I think first or second week in November, and the water temp was dropping, and you know, it wasn't winter, but it was still you know, I figured those fish where I located them was similar to stuff like this. Figured they were going to set up for winter there. So, I mean, I caught them on this MC60 MR. I caught them on a rock crawler. I caught them anywhere from, I'd say 6 to probably the deepest one I caught was maybe 12 foot. But they were just, you know, they were coming out of a back. I had like 3 areas, and it was all where they were coming out of the back of a main creek, like a big long creek. And about halfway back, there was like a transition in the bank. So it went from, you know, like sand or mud to some gravelly rock. And both areas I had 3 areas. So all 3 areas is the same thing. Wherever the transition, there's one right there. The old, finally, I think that's a largemouth, isn't it? I don't know. Yeah, it's a little largemouth, but that's little phantom craw, the MC60, and he got it. But no, it was real similar to this kind of stuff. There'd be laydowns and things like that, like I was just talking about. And man, the good thing about it is I had 3 areas, so I was able to let them rest, and that's key, you know. Just because you start down one stretch in the morning and you catch 3 or 4 fish off it, especially in the wintertime, when the water temps are changing. I mean, a degree or 2 can mean a world of difference. So I'd hit those spots and I'd do the whole rotation again. I just kept cycling back through, and what shocked me was I was like, you know, one time I made a pass on my primary, my starting spot. I caught 2 little largemouth. About 3 hours later, I come back through there, and all I caught was smallmouth. And I came back at the end of the day, and I caught my biggest largemouth, but it was the only fish I had. And I'm like, so they're constantly moving up and down that water column, and you got the right kind of structure, they're gonna feed on it. They're gonna use it. They live there. I figured they're there for the winter. They ain't going anywhere. And then it became, you know, fish management. So the next day, I just kind of laid off my prime area, and then, you know, got through and made the final round. And then the last day I put the hammer down on my prime area because I was done fishing it, and it worked out, man. But this was the basic setups I had was what I'm fishing right now. I mean, you know, and this bank reminds me a lot of it. However, back behind me would be sand, and then it transitioned into stuff like this. And usually all 3 of my prime areas, I'd say the first 100 to 150 yards is where where it went down. I caught them throughout the whole bank, but that little transition area was the sweet spot on all 3 of those spots. So it was good. A little largemouth. I'm gonna catch a magnum spot. I'm catching a largemouth. I'll take whatever bites though.
And the information Bass University provides isn't your basic run-of-the-mill fishing video. This is specific information from A to Z to help you learn, get to the water, and become a better angler quickly.